Now, the violation of safety guidelines continue to put more Nigerians at risk of COVID-19.
Well, the federal government is urging individuals to take responsibility for their health and abide by all safety protocols as the number of infections could overwhelm the country's health system.
All right, joining us in the studio is emotional intelligence expert and life coach, Tosi Imogeme. It's nice to have you join us this morning.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Oh,
Great.
good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Now, the point there is, at this point now, everyone, government and even international organizations are calling for different measures to be used as a way of getting to people and ensuring that people abide by the health guidelines and all of that. All that advice has been given. Use your masks always, as you're using one now, although it's not covering you yet, and then social distancing and all of those protocols out there. But what more can we do as a people, really?
I think the government has to take more responsibility in ensuring that they enforce these rules, because the truth is, humans, the moment you say, do not do this, when you set rules, it becomes a challenge, it becomes a big deal to, abide by those rules. So that's why we have the government to enforce it. And we know how Nigeria is. We've heard cases where some law enforcement people were collecting bribes, and so people getting away with, doing what they're doing. So I think the government has to put in more effort in ensuring that the rules are being enforced. And I also think that the average Nigerian doesn't think that coronavirus is as severe as the government or as it's been painted.
Even after the death of so many people.
Yes, that's because, for example, I discovered that Omatala Jalade also was infected, but we've only been hearing about people, the elites,
the
top people.
celebrities.
Yes, we've not heard about the average Nigerian.
Yeah, the average Nigerians had the statistics.
But we do not know them, and you see,
Yeah.
it's very imperative because seeing is believing. So until the bus conductor knows that Taju, his bus conductor, has caught coronavirus, he may not believe it.
But if you look at that, how many of them will actually go forward for testing? Because that's where the issue is right now. If Taju, just like the example you gave, is a bus conductor, and he doesn't want to go for test because he's afraid that he might be stigmatized.
There's certain people who will still be willing to. I think that's what the government needs to, find a way to convince people. There are people who definitely will be coming out, who will be willing to come out. Not everyone will have such a mindset. And I also think that we should employ the tactic of storytelling. There's a saying that facts tell, but stories sell. Stories have a way of emotionalizing information. For example, I know people who have actually said, I will never use gas again. Why? Because the gas burnt, got exploded and burnt a member of the family, and that emotional trauma has made them say, okay, I'll never use gas, even when it's the main thing now. So if you have a way, like for example, I was in the Uber yesterday, and the Uber driver was saying, man, the government is really lying and all that. So find a way to form stories out of this.
So this is about the tactic on how to communicate to people.
Yes, communication. Yes.
So they believe.
Yes, they believe the market, that people who actually, for example, even in the marketplace, if Mama Tosin or they would be able to relate more as opposed to just seeing the elites only being affected. They would know that, yes, this is actually real and it's amongst us. So that way it would ensure them that it will make them begin to, take the preventive measures seriously.
But the question I'd like to ask you is, so we say that this is the new normal. Of course, you're wearing a face mask. So everywhere you go in the market, you want to go to a restaurant, you want to go to church. Yesterday, church was it didn't feel like church because you had to use the mask. So
and then the crowd.
The crowd is reduced, so 50% capacity. So when will this be over? Because health experts have said this will stay with us for a long while. So how do you think this will affect the psychology of adults and even children?
Well, I think one of the constant things in life is change. And as it is, the way the health practitioners are envisaging is that the coronavirus has come to stay. So I think over time, we'll get used to it. The only challenge is the fact that it seems choking, to always wear a face mask and then inhale your own oxygen and all that. But I think over time, we'll, would adapt to all these measures. It's just in man's nature to always adapt to even the worst case scenario. And this is not the very first of its kind. We've had Ebola, we've had all kinds of different pandemics. So I think we'll adjust in due time. We'll adjust.
Oh, okay. We remember we've read about the Spanish flu in the early, but the point there is, well, from what we read, people got over it one way or the other after a little while. So, like you said, we look forward to. But if we bring it to what we have right now, a lot of persons are saying there need to be enforcement.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I wonder how we balance that, because government has been persuasive, trying to talk to people, make them understand. But that is not working. But how do we envisage having police on the streets, ensuring that everybody wears masks or there is social distancing and all of that? Talk to us about that.
Well, we don't pray for the worst. I have a saying that pain is a gift. If, for example, you lose a loved one very close to you to coronavirus, no one will tell you to begin to take the preventive measures. We don't pray for the worst to happen. We don't pray that it gets worse than this. But I think over time, people would, if the enforcement is being carried out effectively, people will begin to take the preventive measures seriously. I think that's just why the area I believe government needs to work. The challenge is the average Nigerian doesn't trust the Nigerian government. The average Nigerian doesn't think that government has this
So the trust factor is
the trust factor.
Yeah.
So if the trust factor was there, because everything rises and falls on leadership, if the trust factor was there, even when our leaders are going, going into danger, we would follow them because we believe in them. We trust their assertions, everything they say. But that's where the challenge is. We feel that it's not as severe as it is as, opposed to other developed nations. We believe in Africa, in Nigeria specifically, that the virus is not as, severe as it is, and they're just, the confirmed cases are just being exaggerated. So we need to see more people come out and say, yes, I've been infected. Right. Day-to-day people, the people we see on the street, the bus conductors, the
those who have recovered,
yes, those who have recovered.
Okay,
it's not a stigma, and even the death rate is pretty low. The death rate is about 3%, less than 3%, no matter how you calculate it. It's less than we have currently over 49,000 people that confirmed cases, and we have over 36,000 people who have been released, and yet we don't even have up to 1,000 people that have died, and people die every day. I believe the greater pandemic here is poverty. And the fact that recession is looming.
That's even another discussion for another day. Thank you so much, Tosin, for talking to us and sharing your thoughts on Tuesday Breakfast.
Thank you.